Congratulations, Jets. Hassan Reddick. Wow. Impressive move. And this is why I can never ever get behind the Philadelphia Eagles, man. Sleeping with the opposition. Eagles send Hassan Reddick to the Jets for like a 3rd round pick. They're clearly trying to revamp for what might be Rodgers' last season as an NFL quarterback, bruh. These guys have a lot invested in Rodgers, and this move makes all the sense in the world if you're the Jets, because to be honest, they haven't had an edge rusher in almost a decade. Not one that I could think of, not at this moment, can you? Now, I mean, they've had a couple of dogs in the middle, but that corner piece needed to be filled in, and, you know, that's what they're going for. But at the end of the day, bro, you hating-ass Jet fans could come at my Patriots. You could tell me I don't have the GOAT no more. You could tell me I don't have the GOAT coach. You could even tell me the dynasty and winning championships is over. But let me tell you something, bro. Just as my dynasty is closed, you guys are now walking to the dynasty that belongs to Patrick Mahomes.
Bruh.
Ha! You thought these ass whoopings was over? Y'all not winning no chip? I gotta keep it a bean with y'all, both of y'all, Eagles and Jets. I ain't winning no chip, bro. Eagles, you felt the wrath of Patrick Mahomes when you up 10 at halftime, but yet you didn't walk out with a ring, and he did.
Boy, ain't no way.
I know you remember that. I know some of y'all don't even like watching the highlights of that Super Bowl. Man, watching that comeback was glorious. And as far as the Jets goes, I mean, coming off of last season, it's safe to say that you guys got Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers' season came to an end quicker than you can say MVP.
Bruh.
And now we're still trying to wonder if you guys got a MVP and a quarterback that's turning, what, 40? There's a good chance you guys just invested all those future stocks in the washed version of Aaron Rodgers. So you guys aren't out the woodworks. Celebrate while you can. My Patriots is irrelevant. It's cool. I ain't tripping. Ain't a whole lot of nothing, man. But at the end of the day, will y'all catch up to 7? Will y'all catch up to 6? Didn't think so.
Trading linebacker Hassan Reddick to the New York Jets. That is, Reddick spent the past 2 seasons with the Eagles, was named to the Pro Bowl in each of those. Philly will receive a conditional 2026 3rd-round pick, which...
As a Dallas Cowboys fan, I need to ask all Philadelphia Eagles fans one question. What is it like to have your front office actually make moves to improve your roster? The Philadelphia Eagles just made a huge trade with the New York Jets. We're going to cover each and every aspect of it and why they would do such a thing. So before we get to the content, we are currently racing my Flight Mike basketball channel to 1 million subscribers. They have a 38,000 subscriber lead on us, but wonderful human being. Thank you. The Philadelphia Eagles have
there we go. Let's get it cooking.
Their demise in the NFL playoffs. They opened up their offseason by releasing Kevin Byard before making their biggest move of free agency by signing Saquon.
Good move.
To a
great upgrade.
Contract to be the engine of their offense, but they didn't stop there. My favorite move of their offseason so far was signing edge rusher Bryce Huff. Now, at the time, one might wonder, why would the Philadelphia Eagles do such a thing? Huff.
Well, I was unaware that they went after this guy. Wow. Was this pushed out in the media? Bryce Huff to a 3-year, $51 million deal. Huff had 10 sacks last year. Okay, they also guaranteed $10 million of Josh Sweat's salary too. Oh, good move. Okay,
now,
cool.
At the time, one might wonder, why would the Philadelphia Eagles do such a thing? They already had
that boy got paid.
Reddick that was coming off of a 16-sack season in year 1 for the Philadelphia Eagles, en route to making an appearance in the Super Bowl and finishing as an All-Pro. Then this past year, when they were questioning whether or not they should keep Hassan Reddick, came back and got another double-digit sack season for the Philadelphia Eagles. At the same time, the Eagles had questions about whether or not they would even be able to retain Hassan Reddick. On one hand, Hassan Reddick is going into his age 30 season. The other hand,
that means nothing for a pass rusher.
A similar trajectory.
Pass rushers have a they have longevity when it comes to playing the actual position. You could still be a all-pro defensive end at like 36 as a pass rusher. I've seen it done, bro.
Coming in with a 10-sack season with the New York Jets last year. So obviously the Philadelphia Eagles would want to do whatever they possibly can to get younger at that edge rusher position. And they're not in the market to be able to hand off lucrative contracts to aging stars. And with respect to Hassan Reddick, that's exactly what he is. The Eagles are currently in good shape for the salary cap this season with $32 million of cap space left, but things are going to get really ugly for this team next season. And they had to figure out a way to make sure that they could cut some of their salary cap space, because it's only a matter of time Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown start eating into the Philadelphia Eagles cap space. And then on top of that, you want to figure out what you're going to do with Devontae Smith, who is in line for a contract extension. So there was only one one path for the Philadelphia Eagles here in order to make sure that they can sustain their level of excellence for the foreseeable future, especially because it seems like the NFC East is wide open, and this is coming from a
Nah, they can't let them boys
Washington
walk.
Commanders that are currently rebuilding. You got Dan Quinn from the Dallas
I'll be the
Cowboys.
first one to tell you, they can't let them boys walk. They're not going to let Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown walk. Maybe A.J. Brown, but I think he plays such a pivotal role in that offense, bro. Like, and this is why this team has more pressure than ever to win a championship, because just as they're cutting players, next year is going to get really bad. And I don't think Slay is going to be the next year. Like, you're not like, you tend to see GMs go after the defense quicker than they'll go after offensive pivotal pieces. But Eagles, they be outside when it comes to deals. That's one thing I'll give the organization as itself. Like, during the offseason, they don't hesitate to make splashes, and they're typically on point with the moves that they make. So we'll see.
Alongside Dorrance Armstrong, Tyler Biadasz, Austin Eckler, and a bunch of other marquee free agents.
They still gonna suck.
Some of them being former Cowboys. And then you have the Dallas Cowboys, who are unsure if Dak Prescott is going to be their starter for the foreseeable future. So making sure that you have salary cap flexibility is going to make all the difference. But even furthermore, the Eagles have been notorious for hoarding young talent on their defensive line. Whether it's drafting Nolan Smith to pair with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, the acquisition of Bryce Huff, or the
Sheesh.
signing of Devin
Some
White.
big boys,
All that
yo.
being said, it seemed like there was only
Pause.
one reasonable path for Hassan Reddick, and that's to trade him. And that's what the Philadelphia Eagles decided to do. Because according to Adam Schefter, we have a trade. The Philadelphia Eagles are sending their edge rusher, Hassan Reddick, to the New York Jets for a conditional 2026 third-round pick that could be a second-round pick, sources tell ESPN. The protections on the pick is the 2026 pick becomes a second if Reddick has 67.5% playtime this season and has 10 or more sacks. If not, it's a 2023 third-round pick. Now, Hassan Reddick does not have a new deal with the Jets and is now entering the final year of his contract. If the New York Jets don't extend him and he leaves in free agency, the Jets would get a compensatory pick. So they're giving up a pick, and if they lose him, they would get one back. Now, I have multiple thoughts about this. On one hand, I believe that Vance McDonald was about to get his opportunity to shine now that Bryce Huff went to the Philadelphia Eagles. It's kind of funny because, and Sauce Gardner says this straight up, it's almost as if the New York Jets traded Bryce Huff straight up for Hassan Reddick. Sauce Gardner even said that the GM convo had to go like this. Joe Douglas, I showed love to you and gave y'all Bryce, and this is how you're gonna do me. Howie said, you're right, Joe. In this particular instance, it's very difficult to say which player is better between Hassan Reddick and Bryce Huff, because if you take a look at their snaps, according to Next Gen Snaps, Hassan Reddick played twice as many snaps on early downs last season compared to former Jet Bryce Huff, generating 17 more pressures than him on such downs. Reddick was one of 3 players to record 6 or more pressures in 8 games in 2023. You can't really look at this and say that one player is better than the other. There's just a completely different package around each and every player. Hassan Reddick is significantly more proven, but he's significantly older than Bryce Huff. For all you know, he could turn in a bad season at any point. But historically, it seems like aging edge rushers, when placed in the right situations, could put together remarkable seasons for you. I mean, think about how well Khalil Mack did this past year for the Los Angeles Chargers. The man had 17 sacks this past year, for crying out loud, the most he's had in his entire career. And this is after not having a double-digit sack season since his first season in Chicago 6 years ago. So you can't really pick wrong when it comes
Khalil Mack quietly got 17 sacks last season. That's wild. Khalil Mack had fallen off what felt like the face of the earth the past couple of seasons. Look at that. Like last year, 8 sacks. The year before that, 12 and a half in Chicago. And then out of nowhere, 17. And that was with Bosa out the majority of these games, too.
Season since his first season in Chicago 6 years ago. So you can't really pick wrong when it comes
sacks
to
is going up as he gets older?
Reddick, because Bryce Huff has had significantly less playing time. His average time to pressure is a little bit higher than Hassan Reddick's, but he's significantly younger. The upside for Bryce Huff is definitely there, but in my opinion, you can't really go wrong here. The New York Jets just didn't want to be left at the altar at the edge rusher position, so I can very much respect this move for them. They didn't really have to give up much in order to get this done either. Now here's where it gets really crazy. When you take a step back and look at the New York Jets entire team, this team is absolutely terrifying. Now, of course, they need to stay fully healthy, and historically there were questions about whether or not this team would be able to stay fully healthy, but let's just assume here. I mean, on offense, you got Aaron Rodgers. Backing him up, you have Tyrod Taylor and Zach Wilson. At running back, you have Breece Hall. At wide receiver, you have Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, Xavier Antonio Gibson and Alan Lazard. At tight end, you have Tyler Conklin. Your offensive line looks nasty, especially if you stay healthy, with Tyron Smith, John Simpson, Elijah
God, them boys got Tyron. God damn.
And bear in mind, this is a team that still has the 10th overall pick in the NFL draft. They could go O-line, they could go wide receiver. They could also decide to sit pat and take Brock Bowers at tight end. And then you look at this team on defense, and it's absolutely stacked. They have the best defensive tackle in football, which I know it sounds really weird to say that, in Quinnen Williams. They signed Javon Kinlaw. They also have Solomon Thomas rotating in with them. At defensive end, you have Jermaine Johnson, who had a breakout season last year, and backing him up, you have Will McDonald, who was also a former first-round pick. Then you just traded for Hassan Reddick. You're pairing him with CJ Mosley. And then you get to your DBs, and you have Sauce Gardner, Chuck Clark, and DJ Reed. I mean, obviously, there's a question about whether or not this team could stay healthy. And historically, the reason why the Jets weren't able to succeed was because they weren't ever able to stay healthy. But if they can stay healthy, which is a big if, this team looks like one of the scariest rosters in the entire NFL, assuming that they could stay healthy. And again, as a Cowboy fan, I've seen Tyron Smith go down with injuries way too many times. We all know what happened with Aaron Rodgers this past season. We also know Mike Williams is very prone to injury as well. But again, assuming that they don't deal with any injuries, this is one of the scariest rosters in the entire NFL, and their division is also stacked. So I can't wait to see the head-to-head matchups between the Jets and the Jets and the Dolphins. I think this has been a very impressive offseason.
Didn't even mention the Patriots.
But at the end of the day, a third-round pick for a team that's going all in for an edge rusher that has had double-digit sacks
not bad
in the past 4 seasons of his career,
not bad,
despite being on 3 separate teams, is an absolute no-brainer. For the New York Jets, I give them an A+, not because they moved on from Bryce Huff for Hassan Reddick.
They got themselves a dog.
A very intelligent investment of their assets in order to make sure that they get someone that is capable of getting after the quarterback. For the Philadelphia Eagles, I think this move for them makes the most sense. They're consistently trying to get younger at the defensive line position, and they've been doing a remarkable job at doing that. Last year, they lost Javon Hargrave, and they replaced him with Jalen Carter. They took flyers on players like Nolan Smith, and now they're doing it by swapping Hassan Reddick for Bryce Huff. I don't think they could go wrong here. I think both sides are winning here. I think it's an awesome trade for both sides, although Bryce Huff technically isn't the player that's being traded for Hassan Reddick. But let me know in the comment section down below, especially if you're a Jets fan or an Eagles fan. What do you think about this trade? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.
Mike be doing this thing, man. The way he covers these informations and breaking news, like he really be giving you like all the insiders and perspectives and comparisons. Good work, good work. I mean, you know what I mean? It is what it is. Listen, man, we know that the Jets are stacked at the end of the day, and health is going to play a pivotal role. But that's for every team. I don't care about health. I care about Patrick Mahomes. Huh? I care about that man. You know what I mean? So until you guys could deal with them boys up there, odds are you're probably going to have to go to Arrowhead too. You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see. But you guys are definitely loaded and prepared for a playoff berth. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys, I mean, can you guys win the division? I think you can. I think it's possible, but I still got the Bills. But you guys can make a wild card splash. We'll see. I'm going to holler at you guys next video, man. Hit the like and subscribe button for more content. Good shit, Jets. I hate you, Eagles.